The officer had only just pulled up beside the driver, but the driver suddenly fired a shot right back at him. Facing that unexpected attack, the officer did not panic at all. Instead, he charged forward and hit the driver with a pit maneuver, but that hit failed to stop the driver. Instead, the officer nearly sent himself into a ditch. He immediately reached beside the passenger seat, grabbed his patrol rifle, and opened fire without hesitation. This happened in Oklahoma. Local officers had received a request for assistance from police in Arizona. They said a driver suspected of an armed assault was passing through their jurisdiction. Based on the information from their colleagues, they quickly locked onto the driver's vehicle. Several officers immediately moved in, looking for a chance to stop him, but no one expected this driver to be so skilled behind the wheel. He weaved through traffic, with a line of officers chasing behind him. This officer was in the second position, ready to support at any moment, but no one expected the chase to last more than 10 minutes. The driver did not make a single mistake. Now the driver suddenly changes lanes again, and exits the highway. The officers immediately follow. After more than 10 minutes of back and forth, the driver still has not shown a single weakness. Right after getting off the highway, the driver starts leading the officers all over the place. It looks like he is trying to break up their formation and make the officers behind him lose track. Let's open the power ranking chart and take a look. Okay, this is actually a rare 7-star boss, and what makes it even crazier is that this officer is also a 7-star player. Looks like today is destined to be a clash of titans. At this moment, the driver circles all the way around and leads the officers back onto the highway. Meanwhile, the driver up ahead starts showing off again. Using the advantage of his vehicle, he makes an easy U-turn. Then the driver gives them another surprise. 2 sudden shots land perfectly, right on the tires of the police car in front. Seeing his colleague taken out, this officer immediately speeds up and takes over the chase. Although the driver is armed, it seems to have no effect on the officer's mindset. There is no fear in his eyes at all, only pure love for the job. Facing traffic up ahead, the driver cuts straight through the median. Fortunately, the other drivers move out of the way in time. That is the only reason the officer does not fall too far behind. Let's see what kind of sparks these 2 top-tier players are about to create. Just then, the driver up ahead launches the first attack. Even though the driver fires first, the officer avoids every shot. Since the driver wants to play rough, the officer is not going to hold back either. He pulls out his patrol rifle. The officer is ready to compare marksmanship with the driver, but just as he gets the rifle into position, the driver suddenly accelerates away. And since there are far too many civilians on this road, the officer has no choice but to lower the rifle for now. He continues the battle with driving skills instead. Now let's take a look at the vehicle the driver is using. It is a large luxury SUV from Jeep. The model is called the Grand Wagoneer. This vehicle can come with a 6.4-liter naturally aspirated V8 engine. It produces up to 471 horsepower. Even though it is a full-size SUV, it can go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 6 seconds. In terms of acceleration, it is not afraid of the officer's Dodge Charger at all. And with its 4-wheel drive system, its off-road ability easily gives it the upper hand. Seeing the officer closing in again, the driver fires without hesitation. He can run, he can fight, and he has stamina. This driver is basically an all-around boss. But to be fair, this officer is also incredibly brave. And before the sentence is even finished, the man fires again. As the saying goes, 3 strikes is enough. The officer does not want to tolerate it anymore. He grabs the rifle beside the passenger seat again. But unfortunately, there are still too many civilians ahead. In the end, the officer restrains himself. That gives the officer a chance to attempt a pit maneuver. But the officer has only just moved in, when the driver easily avoids him. In the next second, the driver launches a counterattack. The officer does not back off, and goes straight for another pit. But the driver's vehicle barely moves. Instead, he reaches over for the 3rd time, and grabs the rifle beside the passenger seat. Then he quickly sets it up, ready to settle this with the driver. What the officer does not expect is that the driver still dares to fire from up ahead. The driver could not even break the windshield after firing a whole magazine, but the officer takes it out with a single shot. After 7 shots, the officer lowers the rifle, still looking unsatisfied, mainly because the accuracy was honestly not great. But the driver still does not forget to fire back. Facing the driver's attack, he moves forward instead of backing away. After so many rounds of fighting, no one expected the final battle to return to pure driving skill. The officer thinks he has found an opportunity, but the driver has already calculated the movement of nearby traffic. The officer attacks several times. Looks like the officer needs to double the number of attacks. A battle between top-tier players really does hit differently. At this moment, the officer follows behind the driver with a completely calm face. There is not a single ripple of emotion on his expression. It is as if he was not the one who just went through a gunfight moments ago. The driver probably never expected this either. As a 7-star boss, he had come out of Arizona, passed through New Mexico, and met no real opponent along the way. He even had time to stop for gas in the middle of it all. But here, he runs into this officer, and ends up locked in a dead-even fight. From this distance, we can clearly see the bullet holes in the driver's rear windshield. Another intense round of back and forth begins. He even brakes on purpose to interfere with the officer behind him. Facing the driver's provocation, the officer remains expressionless. That shows just how strong this officer's mental game is. But dispatch soon brings him some good news. 3 helicopters are tracking from above, and a large number of officers behind him. As soon as the officer hears this, he launches another attack. The officer goes in for a pit. Because the driver reacts in time, the hit does not cause any real damage. Instead, while the officer is adjusting, the driver uses the chance to pull away again. Now the officer keeps the gas pin. But the driver has actually been planning something too. As the officer closes in again, the driver has already aimed at the officer through the back. But at the critical moment, the officer sees the driver's movement, then quickly moves in and tries another pit. The driver avoids it. The driver immediately slams on the brakes, but not only does the officer dodge it, the driver accidentally exposes a fatal opening. The officer locks onto him perfectly. The vehicle loses control and charges straight into the grass on the side of the road. But as another 7-star boss himself, the driver's match is not over yet. Since all the footage after this was edited out, I found some extra information from other sources. After being stopped, the driver did not surrender. Instead, he ran straight to the trunk, pulled out an AK-47 and 2 AR-style rifles, and started the second round with the officers. Using the vehicle and the terrain as cover, combined with heavy firepower, he managed to hold off multiple officers for several hours. The entire road was blocked completely. Seeing that they could not take down this 7-star boss, police sent in dozens of patrol cars and an armored vehicle, trying to convince the driver to surrender. But the driver answered them with bullets. In the end, with the situation completely against him, the man's run came to an end. He finally gained his so-called freedom. With that level of firepower involved, his luck had completely run out. No one expected that a mighty 7-star boss would fall in this way. A few days later, with the Arkansas State Police, one trooper had already set up spike strips. He was waiting for the driver to arrive. But after waiting for a while, he still does not see the driver enter his line of sight. The trooper starts to feel that something is wrong. And just then, he hears the sirens of his colleagues nearby. Well, this driver actually predicted the spike strips. Caught off guard, the trooper does not even have time to pick them up. He immediately jumps into his car and gives chase. As the last line of defense in eastern Arkansas, the trooper is not going to let the driver escape that easily. He has always believed spike strips are unreliable anyway. A direct pit maneuver is much more practical. Because he lost a lot of time at the start, the trooper pushes the car up to 124 miles per hour. He is hoping he still has a chance to catch the driver. Since ASP cannot enforce the chase in Tennessee, the trooper will have to back off once the driver crosses the state line. And here comes that classic map again. At this point, the driver is less than 10 miles from the state line. At this speed, he can get there in about 5 minutes. Since they already know the driver's destination, why not set up an ambush in advance? From West Memphis, Arkansas, to Memphis, Tennessee, there are 2 bridges connecting the area. It is hard to know which one the driver will take. And because this is a major traffic route, there are a lot of civilians on the road. That is why troopers like this one set up ahead of time about 11 miles out. It gives them a little more room for error. Even so, there is not much time left for the trooper. Almost 2 minutes have already passed. Forget the driver. He cannot even see the taillights of his colleagues yet. The trooper is not going to let that happen. He floors it again. The engine stays around 5,500 revolutions per minute, pushing out the car's maximum power. Finally, he sees the lights of the police cars ahead. Looks like this driver will not be getting away that easily today. He started 10 seconds late, yet it still takes him more than 2 minutes to catch up. Seeing the state trooper arrive, the local officers all move aside and give him the lead position. Luckily, there are still 7 miles left. That is enough distance for the trooper to look for an opening. Now let's see whether the trooper can catch the driver off guard and take him down in one push, or whether the driver can hold on until the very end, cross the state line, and force the trooper to back off. After chasing for so long, we finally get a clear look at the driver. The trooper wants to finish him off in one move, but although this vehicle is huge, it is terrifyingly agile in the driver's hands. Looks like this driver's skill is not bad either. Now let's see what the ranking chart says. Okay, he is actually a 6-star boss. There is not much distance left now, and since there are no more officers ahead to support him, this becomes a major test for the trooper. Just then, the driver performs an extreme overtake. You have to remember, the driver is in a full-size SUV. This GMC Yukon XL is about 19.7 feet long. Its width is over 6.5 feet. But in this driver's hands, it looks incredibly nimble. On top of that, it can be equipped with a 6.2-liter naturally aspirated V8 engine. It makes around 420 horsepower. Even against the trooper's Dodge Charger, it can absolutely hold its own. Just then, the driver launches an attack. He overtakes right next to a semi-truck, forcing the trooper to slow down. Fortunately, the trooper's driving skill is not weak either. Once he catches up, he suddenly realizes there are no civilian cars nearby. This is a rare opportunity. Without hesitation, the trooper moves in for a pit. But unexpectedly, the driver pressures him step by step. The trooper adjusts his rhythm and immediately makes a fake move to throw the driver off. But just as he is about to move in, the driver closes the gap again. He easily neutralizes the danger. When you run into an opponent who is heavier than you, bigger than you, and just as fast and skilled as you, what should you do? The only answer is to keep applying pressure. Force him to make a mistake. Now the trooper keeps a distance of just over 30 feet from the driver. It feels like the moment the driver relaxes even slightly, the trooper will move in for a pit. And sure enough, the driver only slows down a little on the uphill section. The trooper immediately closes in. Seeing this, the driver instantly changes lanes and blocks the trooper's path. You have to know, this SUV is massive. It easily blocks the trooper's view ahead and to the right. The trooper keeps half a car length offset and drives close to the yellow line. He does this to keep a clear view of the traffic ahead. Sure enough, 2 trucks appear in front. If the trooper had changed lanes recklessly just now, he would have put himself in serious danger. The trooper still has not found a way to organize an effective attack. He can only keep following behind and wait for another chance. As for the driver, freedom is right in front of him. The closer he gets, the more confident he becomes. Even as the shoulder ahead becomes narrower and narrower, he still charges forward without hesitation. He does not even tap the brake lights. At this moment, the road sign shows that Freedom Bridge is up ahead. For the trooper, this is definitely a huge blow. It looks like he may have to learn from Officer James Byrd and go for a last-second trade. For ASP, the trooper is going all in, but no one expected there to be so many civilian cars on the road. Although they are almost at Freedom Bridge, the driver is blocked by traffic. The driver suddenly uses a lightning-fast escape move. That completely defeats the trooper's chance. After pulling off that sequence, the driver gets onto Freedom Bridge. At the very last second, he successfully advances to the next stage. His timing is almost perfect. Even though the civilian drivers move over right away, the trooper can no longer change the outcome. He can only watch the driver leave.